Welcome, everyone, to Calvary Pursuit. We are the official podcast of Calvary United Pentecostal Church of Denton. We are thrilled to be here today. Today, we are talking about miracles, not just a miracle, multiple miracles. And we've got the perfect guest for you today. I can't wait to get into the discussion. So until then, wait for it. We'll get to it right after this. Now I am excited once again to be with someone that has meant a lot to me for a long time. And I say this a lot, but this person really does mean a lot to me. Someone that has a lot of history with me, and that is Sister Lisa Steinback. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Gary. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
You and I have talked, and really we've kind of been ships in the night, right? Things have been happening, especially on my end. I have been delaying our podcast, and then you had some things. You had a big birthday come up.
Yes.
So we finally got here to sit down with each other. But God has done so much in your life, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about some other things leading up to that. So like I do with a lot of our guests here, I just want to ask you, who is Lisa Steinback, and just kind of give me a little background of who you are in your history.
Well, that's a long and complicated story, but I would like to share about like the past 22, 23 years, which is when I started coming to Calvary. When I first walked through the doors at Calvary, I was homeless. I had escaped a 16-year abusive relationship. I had no job, and I was a completely shattered human being. I wasn't broken. I was shattered into a million pieces. And when I first walked in the door, all I felt was the overwhelming presence of God's love. And I almost turned around and left because I felt so undeserving. Fortunately, someone kind of grabbed my arm and led me into the sanctuary. And this church, these people, they have saved my life time and time again. And I've experienced miracle after miracle after miracle. I once broke my knee, and the orthopedic surgeon said, we're gonna have to do surgery and do all this stuff, and I was like, oh my God. And then the next time I went back to the doctor, of course we prayed for it at church. The next time I went back to the doctor, he took the x-ray, and he became very frustrated. He says, I don't know what's happened, but your knee is healed.
Wow.
And I said, well, I know what happened, so.
Right.
And of course, he's just like, okay, whatever. He was just frustrated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like, come on, let's bill you some more here. We can't.
What do you mean I can't do surgery? I don't know. Right. There's just been so much. This place has given me a family. Mm-hmm. It's not just people. It's my family.
Right.
And my family grows every day. And there are times when I beg God, please don't make me love these people. Please don't make me love these people, because it hurts. You know?
Right.
I lost my mother when I was 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I'm never going to love anybody again because it hurts too much when they leave or when they die. Mm-hmm. Never going to do that again. And I fell in love. I fell in love with Jesus. I fell in love with this group of people, this family. It's not the building. It's the people that occupy the building and the presence of God that occupies this building.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I want to kind of talk about that as well. And, you're talking about your history, walking in the doors basically with nothing. really, honestly, right?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And, at that time when you were here, Bishop Philip Hudson and, of course, Honey, which is Sister Hudson, they were here. They were the leaders.
Yes.
And, they brought you in. And I know them very well. And we've had them on the podcast. And I know a lot of people at our church, of course, loved them so much because of the way they love people.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
And I know that was a big deal for you walking in the door. And then, of course, that group. I've mentioned it so many times, Sister Lisa. I came in 2004.
Yeah.
And I was a college student. And I didn't have a lot of expectations, to be honest with you. My expectations were very limited. Like, I'm just going to go to another church. I'd been in church my whole life, but I was going into a new place. I was not expecting anything. But, man, I'm telling you, within that first month, the love, the family that was here.
Oh, yes.
I had a place to be because I was always a homebody back when I was at home with my parents. Coming into a new situation, I was prepared for a letdown. I was not let down at all. So for you, walking in with nothing, and then for people to actually say, we love you.
Yes.
And then you go back to your history. You just mentioned it, losing your mom.
Yes.
What a horrible part of your journey, but also something that you walked into this place and found a way to really understand it even more because of the love.
Yes.
Like, wow, I can love again. So
Yes.
I want to ask you this, kind of branching off that. You've been here a while, just like myself, and you've seen people come and go. You've seen different situations take place. And some people would say, these people left, or I'm brokenhearted. But I think that you've learned in this time that even though people leave, there are people that will come and new people to love, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's an ebb and flow. And sometimes I think this church is kind of like a hospital. People come in broken and they get healed. And for whatever reason, they feel compelled to go someplace else, or they're called to go someplace else. And it's sad when they leave, but I know new people are going to come in. And they need our love just as much. And we're going to give it freely. And every person I've ever talked to that has been new here, and just talking with them, they're like, I feel so loved. And I said, that's because you are.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, we're not a respecter of persons. We don't care if you have money, if you don't have money. We reach out to the homeless shelters and we pick them up and bring them to church, and we love on them, and we try and help them find jobs, and we try and solve some of their problems, just like people helped me solve some of my problems. I got a job. I had nothing but the clothes on my back, and that was it. And people helped me get a job, get a car, helped me furnish an apartment. It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I can never be grateful enough.
Amen.
Can never be grateful enough.
And God used people to put people in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
And just talking about that and branching off that, you could, like myself, you probably have a list of people you could sit here and name who spoke into your life, whether they're still here or they're not.
Yes.
That spoke into your life. And I'm going to drop a name real quick, but he still, to me, means a lot, even though I haven't talked to him in years. But Terry Oxner was a guy that, I'll never forget him, because as a young man, even though he was older than I am, but he was just someone who, no matter any situation, he found me, he loved me, and made sure that I felt wanted and needed, and that I mattered in the conversation. Yes. And sometimes we just don't feel like that. And so, probably a laundry list. I'm not asking you to name them.
Well, he was the one that actually started me coming here.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Terry Oxner. He was actually at the Salvation Army homeless shelter where I went.
Okay.
And he just started talking to me about the Lord, and he got me to come here for the first time in August of 2003. And I've never left.
Wow.
Yeah, but he got me, and I still talk to him frequently.
That's awesome.
And he's still, I was thinking I've got to give him a call today because he's kind of like my spiritual father, because he kind of brought me in, and I still call him if I have spiritual questions. It's like, what do I do? This is the situation. Mm-hmm. Can you help me sort it biblically? Because fleshly is not going to work.
Right. It's so good to have those people in our lives.
Yes.
Those people that they're a hold for us. That someone that can step in the gap when we feel unworthy of God's love.
Oh, yes.
And when we feel unworthy of even our companions or our peers, even in church or out of church, we just need that person. And I'm so glad to hear that you have. I know he's not the only one, but he's one of the pillars. And so saying that and talking about that as these years have gone by and kind of moving on, and as we're getting further along in your journey, you have seen a lot of things take place. You've been blessed so much. I know you were blessed with a daughter.
Yes.
I mean, and God blessed you in that instance. I mean, many times we say children are a blessing, then other times you're just like, you're not sure that they are, right? But they really, truly are. And they speak into your life in a different way than people on the outside can, right? Your own children. So, I mean, God blessed you with a daughter. God's blessed you with success in jobs. God has just led you to, I would say, a pinnacle, and to putting you in a place where you are right here, and you know you're loved. You've got family. Even not here anymore because they've moved on. How has that really blessed you as you've come this far in your journey?
When something catastrophic happens, as it did a couple of years ago, when something catastrophic happens, I don't panic, because I know I have support. I know I have a building full of people who are going to help me through the situation. I have people that I can call in the middle of the night and say, I need you to pray for me. Mm-hmm. And it's not just people I can count on one hand. It's two hands. It's including toes. There are people that I can trust with my life. And that is the most comforting thing.
Amen.
My best friend came to visit me at the last Easter, or a couple of services before Easter. And she brought me to church, and she attended church with me, and she's devout Catholic.
Okay.
She came to church with me, and when she saw me walk in the building and the way people treated me, she started crying, and she says, I've never seen you so well taken care of. She said, I know I can trust you in their care. And we have been friends for 65 years.
Wow.
69 now.
That's awesome.
Not 65, 66 now.
Okay.
Because we're turning 69 this year. We've been friends since we were 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But when she said, now I know I can trust you in their care.
Wow.
And she says, that takes the weight off me.
Mm-hmm. That's a blessing. That's a testimony in itself.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
A stamp of approval you can't buy.
No, most definitely not. So I definitely want to talk about what you just mentioned in a catastrophe. So let's jump into this miracle that God has done, and we're going to start at the beginning. I want to talk about. I know you brought a little bit of help for us, but let's talk about this situation. When you went to the doctor, when you started feeling bad, and let's start from there.
Okay, so I went to the doctor, and I was seeing a kidney doctor, and I kept having the same symptoms, and he kept running blood tests, and he kept sending me to other specialists to rule out other diseases. And I'm so grateful that he just didn't keep trying to pump me with medication. Mm-hmm. He actually wanted to find out what was causing the problem. So on my 67th birthday, he gave me a referral to an oncologist. And I knew what that meant.
Yeah.
But he referred me to Dr. Anat Sharma with Texas Oncology. And he is absolutely brilliant, and he is an excellent caretaker. And he was the perfect man for my type of cancer. I had multiple myeloma.
Okay.
Which accounts for only 1% of cancers.
Wow.
And of that 1%, of that cancer group, only 1% of women get it. So it's very rare that I should even have this. And normally they don't catch it until it's like stage 3 or stage 4. He caught it stage 1.
Oh, thank the Lord.
They don't even have survival rates because nobody catches it at stage 1. So there's no data to go from. So then we started the chemo. I caught every side effect you could imagine.
Oh, no.
At one time, excuse me, my mouth gets dry.
Oh, you're fine.
At one time, my face swelled up like a football. And if you've ever seen the movie Goonies, and there's that guy that's got his face all misshapen and goes, "Hey, guys," that's what I look like. And I walked into the doctor's office, and the nurse that greeted me said, "I would normally ask why you're here, but I can see." And so every medical professional that saw me that day went, "Whoa," and including my doctor. And he said, "Well, there's nothing we can do right now, so it's just going to have to pass. We're going to stop your chemo for a while." So my chemo was rough. So I was getting chemo twice a week. But it was effective. It lowered the cancer cell count low enough. And then I had to go get a bone marrow transplant. And incredibly supportive team. It says, chemo was effective, managed to survive all the side effects. And then I said, absolutely the best support team ever. I will never be able to thank them enough or repay the kindness. And by support team, I'm talking the entire church. The cell harvesting, because they were using my own cells, so they had to harvest my blood cells. That took 2 weeks. And I lived in Dallas. It's kind of like a Ronald McDonald House for adults.
Okay.
But you live there, and they transport you to and from the hospital to get your blood cells. That was effective, and it was more effective than they thought it would be. So that was one of the blessings. The bone marrow transplant was successful. That is not a very pleasant experience, by the way. I did it in record time. Most people are in the hospital for a month. I was there for 13 days.
Wow.
And I was able to get out. And then they had inserted a port so they could give me all the meds and everything. The port came out 1 to 2 months earlier than it does on most people because the counts were doing so well. I count one of the miracles, all the prayers going up on my behalf. I was isolated in the hospital. Basically, if you came in to see me, you had to wear the full protective gear, and it wasn't what I could give you, it was what you could give me. And then once I got home, I had to stay in my apartment exclusively by myself for 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
I got out just in time for Easter.
So you're on house arrest.
I was on house arrest, so I got out just in time for Easter, so it was kind of like the resurrection. Yes.
Oh, my goodness. And I got a question for you real quick before we move on. Were you not allowed to have pets? I don't know what that situation.
Well, they were telling me no. And I said, absolutely not. I'm not getting rid of my cat.
That's what I knew. That's why I was asking that question.
And they said, okay, so you got to have someone else change the litter, or you got to get gowned up and everything. And so because I couldn't get rid of he was my support.
Yeah, that's what
he became like my service animal. Then and I couldn't go to church, and I would watch church online, and through the whole first part of it, I would cry because I couldn't be there. I would just, one time I was in the hospital, and the nurse walked in during church service, and she said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, it's just church. I just want to go to church." And she said, "Well, you can in a couple of months, maybe 3 months." But I finally got to church, and it made all the difference. And they wanted to do like a food train. Well, they couldn't, because first off, I didn't feel like eating a lot.
Right.
But because my food had to be prepared a specific way. And thank God for the Bickham family. So I would have my groceries delivered to the Bickham family. Kenny would sterilize everything and then bring it over to me.
Oh, there you go. I like it.
And so, he made sure I didn't have to touch anything that would possibly be contaminated, which I thought was wonderful.
Oh, yes. And that's another thing that's a blessing, like you talked about as you're talking about this, is the people that are actually coming and stepping in the gap for those situations where physically you cannot do it.
I can't.
You have no choice. I mean, it's live or die.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know with the transplant, it's not only is that painful, but you have no longer any protection at all in your body. You're a clean slate. So if any sickness gets in your body, it's got all the power.
Oh, yeah.
So you're depending on others who love you enough to take the time to, and I know the Bickham family very well. I mean, the kindest, the people that are going to drop everything for you.
Yes.
And I know that's been a big blessing to your life.
Well, and they had been through it with Noah, of course.
That's correct.
And so Noah actually stayed with me for like the first week because I was so weak.
Mm.
And I call him my chemo coach. So when I start feeling a certain way, I call him, "Hey, Bubby, did you experience this?" And he'll like, yeah, it'll pass.
And that's good too, to have some support in that.
He'll get over it. It'll go away in a little bit. It'll take about 3 months, but it'll go away. And I'm like,
Right.
And we talk about the thing with food, because food becomes its texture, its taste, and foods that I used to love, I can't stand now. And so, they took strawberry, they took chocolate, cheese. I mean, there's certain foods I just like, ugh. But, and then on 5/4/25, I've even started dating these. I went to do altar call, and my legs got weak, and I was about to collapse. And Sister Bradley came up, and she laid her hand on me. And the more she prayed for me, the stronger my legs got. Wow. So it just, and I just had to keep worshiping through it.
Right.
But the more I worshiped, the stronger my legs got. And then on June 5th, this was last year, they didn't detect any cancer, but they didn't declare me cancer-free. So this year, on May 5th, which was my mother's birthday, they declared me cancer-free.
Hallelujah.
They declared me cancer-free. Now, I still have issues. Mm-hmm. My immune system is absolutely shot. So I have to take certain medicines, and I may have to take them the rest of my life because of my immune system. I unfortunately got shingles. I would encourage anybody to talk to their doctor about shingles, because shingles was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And I've had a knee replacement and a bone marrow transplant. And those were a cakewalk compared to shingles.
Wow, my goodness. That's amazing.
But every day I wake up and I'm just grateful to God.
Yes.
And I've learned so many lessons. And I have so much to be grateful for.
Right.
And I want to talk about one incident with Bishop Hudson.
Okay.
And this was early on when I first started coming here. So in 2004, in February, we went to a big concert. And we got separated in the crowd. And I was getting lost in the crowd. And he stopped where he was. He reached his hand out to me. And he said, "Give me your hand, sis. I don't want to lose you."
Wow.
And that's when I knew I had family.
Yeah.
That's when I knew it was a lock. Because I kept thinking, in my head, I was thinking, once these people find out who I really am, I'm gone. They're going to ask me to leave. And it hasn't happened in 23 years.
Wow.
And I can be myself, which is sometimes obnoxious and a practical joker. And I have earned the nickname Sister Evil, and I wear it with pride.
You got to use the pinky.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I wear it with pride, but this place loves you for who you are. They love you where you're at. And I have grown so much and changed so much. And I can't express how grateful I am for this place and these people.
Right. Amen on that. You know, I think it's amazing that, you know, we watched and listened to you talk about this journey and the depths that you've been in the valleys.
God.
I mean, basically, the ground zero. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like negative ground zero. But God, along that way, has held your hand and brought you, and of course, put people in your life to help you, whether it's, you know, your pastors, whether
Yes.
it's just your friends, or even, distant friends, and even, I will say, your cat gets it. But God has put all these different people in situations. I will say the doctors for sure. You mentioned your doctor earlier.
Absolutely.
I really am a firm believer that God puts the right doctors in front of us. I'm going to say that for myself, and I'll probably tell more of my story. I'll tell you, 2 years ago, the surgeon that I had work on my eyes, probably the only one that I could trust. I'll be very honest with you.
It is. It's trust. It's about trusting them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's the thing. You've got to trust in God first. That way you can trust your surgeon.
Yes.
And knowing that God's put the right person in front of you. And so, I know you could probably talk another hour and a half on just the doctors, right? And the nurses.
Oh gosh, yeah.
There's so much. Sadly, the 30 minutes that we have here, and as even we wrap up now, we're sitting here saying we've got so much of the story, but what you've told me so far, it's so uplifting, Sister Lisa. There's so much in a part of your journey, and I appreciate you sharing this with me and all the things that you've been through and all those things, and just to hear you say constantly, it's not about you, it's about the people that were there with you, right?
Yes.
And so, as we kind of wrap this up, I just want to know, when you talk to God and when you're sharing your heart with Him, how has your relationship with God changed as you've went through so much?
I trust Him so much. I lean on Him for everything. I talk to Him, and I talk honestly with Him. It's not all these little, oh, thank you for a wonderful day, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, today was awful. Can you explain that to me? It's, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and someone was talking about Job and how God said Job honored him in his prayers, and that Job's friends didn't honor God. Mm-hmm. But Job, even though he was angry, even though he was frustrated, Job honored God because he prayed. And some of my prayers, they've been rough with God. Because I once, after my mother's death, I once demanded of him for him to explain to me who did he think he was taking my mother. Which should have got me burned to a cinder. But he showed me. And I mean, I jerked open my Bible I said, you will answer this question right now. That's not a good way to approach God.
Nope.
But I jerked open the Bible, and I believe it's in Isaiah somewhere. It says, my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. And I just went, okay, you're right. And I closed it, and that was it.
Wow.
And he's just a loving and kind God. And he's always there with me, even when I'm not the nicest person.
Yeah, I understand that totally. And I think a lot of us feel that way in our most terrifying and our most lows of lows.
Yes.
We want those answers right then, and we expect them. We definitely do. And we're thinking, God, you're our Father. The answer, be here, pick me up, take me, But I mean, sometimes he's got to be, you got to do this on your own. I'm here, but you've got to figure this out too. You can't expect me to. So I totally get where you're coming from. The last question I want to ask you today before we get out of here, because trust me, I have a lot more, but we only have a limited time. I want you to tell somebody that's in the lowest low, someone who's either sick, going through some of the things you went through, or something similar, someone who doesn't know what their next meal is going to be or where it's going to come from, someone who just doesn't see a future. Give them some advice.
I think the best advice I can give you is to not panic. I know that's easy for me to say, and it's hard to do. You have to trust in God. You have to trust His process. You can't rush a situation because it won't work. And you have to find people who are there to help you. You can find agencies and you can find all kinds of things, but find a good church. Find a good church. I went through a program through the Salvation Army where they actually helped me pay my rent for a year, paid all my bills for a year so that I could get out of homelessness. And at the end of it, they asked me what made the difference. And I said, the rent and the bills, that was nice. I said, but what made the difference is my church, because I found a community that cared about me. They weren't doing it just to be nice. They weren't doing it for show. They were doing it because they genuinely cared about me and they genuinely loved me. And that is what made the difference. It wasn't the rent. It wasn't any of that. It was knowing that people cared and that human contact.
Amen. That's great. Everyone out there listening right now has heard the story right now, and I know that they feel uplifted by seeing what God has done in your life. And I know also you bless some people out there knowing that maybe they've lived through some of the things you've lived through, and they can say, man, there is someone else out there that's dealing with the same things I'm dealing with now or have dealt with, right? I'm not the only one with a rough history. And I appreciate you sharing and being very candid today, Sister Lisa. And thank you for blessing us. And anyone out there today, just want you to know that Calvary is here for you. If you're in the Denton, Dallas, Fort Worth area, we are here. We are a church that loves everyone. And if you're not here, then find a church. Find a good apostolic church that loves you, someplace that God is going to fulfill the things in your life that He's got for you. But you've
Absolutely.
got to find that place, right, Sister Lisa? Find that family. Join today, and make sure that you're giving yourself a chance at life. Because without this, Sister Lisa, I know I'm not worth much.
Oh no.
So
No.
We just got to do it together. So, well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. We thank you, and of course, and Nick. Till next time, make sure you're loving somebody, because you just never know who might need a new beginning.